In this video, I will show you how to get $10,000 for free for your business today from the government. It doesn't matter if you are a small business owner, self-employed, or independent contractor. That's $10,000 you don't have to pay back. So in this video, we'll go over who qualifies, what the rules are, and more importantly, I'll go over the application step by step, along with all the related forms you have to fill out so you can get this money right away. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am your host, Leo Landaverde. I'm a business coach and outsource CFO helping you scale your business. If you're ready to grow your business to 7 figures and beyond while creating the lifestyle and the financial freedom that you want, then subscribe to this channel and don't forget to hit the bell so you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. In this video, I'm going to show you precisely the steps you have to follow to get your $10,000 advance on an economic injury disaster loan, as we said at the beginning of this video. That $10,000, it's a gift to you if the loan is not approved. So where does all that come from? Well, what you're looking at right now is the final version of HR 748, which was the final bill that was signed into law by President Trump on March 27, 2020. And it's called the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, CARES Act for sure. There's a few things. We're not gonna go over the 880 pages that this document has, so I'll make it brief. I'll get to the point. So there's a couple things that you have to know. There were two major things that came out of this new law, this $2 trillion package. One was the Paycheck Protection Program, which was $350 billion that probably will be used up in the first 30 days. And they're probably gonna need to get more money. And the second one, which is the focus of this video, is the Emergency Economic Injury Disaster Loan Grants, which is EIDL grants for short. So the next of the information is gonna be on page 66. So I'm gonna take you to that right away. So here's what I want you to, and by the way, the link for this will be down below, so you can just click through it and get the actual document so you can read it for yourself. So in page 66, it tells us under section 1110 about the emergency EIDL grants. So what makes you qualified for it? You have to have a business with no more than 500 employees, which most small business owners would be. And that comes from the definition of the SBA, that a small business is one that has 500 employees or less. B, any individual who operates under a sole proprietorship with or without employees or is an independent contractor. An independent contractor most likely get a 1099 at the end of the year, so you are eligible to apply. So let's read on. So here's the cool thing about it. Up to $200,000 the administrator shall waive certain things, and you will not have to personally guarantee this loan so long as it's up to $200,000. If it is over $200,000, you will have to personally guarantee it. And what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna do the short form of how to apply it online, and then if it is bigger, I'm gonna show you what forms you need to fill out. So this may be a little bit lengthy video, but stay tuned because I'm gonna give you all the information that you need. So first, if it is $200,000 or less, you don't have to personally guarantee it. The requirement is also waived for you to be in business for 1 year prior to the disaster. The administrator may solely rely on your credit score. So this whole thing about you submitting tax returns and all that paperwork is waived, which is really, really cool. This is probably never gonna happen again, so you need to take advantage of that. COVID-19, which is what triggered the emergency nationwide, that guarantees you that within 3 days after receiving your application and you self-certify, which all that means that you have to answer a few questions yourself under penalty of perjury, you will get an amount no more than $10,000, which is the whole purpose of this video, so long as you do the application online and you follow certain rules. And So if you read here on page 70, it says repayment. An applicant shall not be required to repay any amounts of any advance provided under this subsection, even if subsequently denied a loan. Isn't that cool? So you apply for the loan gets turned down, you get $10,000, you don't have to pay it back, you didn't personally guarantee anything. Please tell me this is not an opportunity of a lifetime if you're a business owner who actually really needs the money. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over how to actually apply online. So you go to sba.gov and you're going to see this and you just click on learn more and you wait for it to load and you're going to click under coronavirus funding options. You click on the link and it's going to take you to 4 options, funding options. So there is the Paycheck Protection Program, there is the EIDL loan advance, SBA Express Bridge loans, and SBA debt relief. Well, this video is about getting the $10,000 potentially free money, so we're going to click on this link right here. Okay? So it tells you a little bit about what the overview, which we already kind of went over. You can, in response to the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, small business owners in all U.S. states, all 50, including Washington, D.C., are eligible for this economic disaster loan advance of $10,000. If you're a business for less than 500 employees, including sole proprietors, blah, blah, blah. We already covered that. And here's what's important. Here is where we click at the bottom, almost at the bottom of the page. You click under to apply for a COVID-19 economic injury disaster loan, and then you click here. So what happens is it loads up an application. So this becomes an online application through the SBA website. And this is the link for short right here. So if you kind of got confused in the process, this is the link. I'll make sure that you have the link at the bottom of this video so you can actually go click it yourself. And you can do this on your own. You don't really need anybody to do this. You can do this yourself. So you have to choose whether you are an applicant with a business with no more than 500 employees, whether you are an individual who is a sole proprietorship, whether you're a cooperative, whether you're employee stock ownership, an ESOP, with different options. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to apply as a business with no more than 500 employees. In order for you to get to the next phase and the next page of the application, you will have to click on everything, that you're not engaged in any legal activity, that no principal of the applicant with a 50% greater ownership is more than 60 days delinquent in child support. So some of those are no-brainers, but you will have to click on all of them if you want to move forward. You notice, if not all of them are clicked, this continue button will not be enabled. So now that we click, we're ready to go to the next page. So we are now at the second page, which is the business information. Now, for the sake of time, what I'll do is I'll pause the video right now. I'll pre-fill it with some information, and then I'll tell you what happened. All right, so you're back. So what I did is, before while I paused the video, I filled it with some fictitious information just to kind of give you an idea what happens. All the categories are in red unless they're filled. So you notice that you will not be able to move forward unless everything is in green. So we put here, the fictitious company, an LLC, 123 Company LLC, and the trade name will be the same. In this case, 123 Company, and then next is either your employee identification number, which is your federal employment identification number, which will be 2 digits followed by 7 digits, or your social security number if you're a sole proprietorship. So we put that in, and then the organizational type, whether you are a limited liability, sole proprietor, C corporation, S corporation, general partnership, limited liability partnership. For the purposes of this, we are a limited liability company. So gross revenues for the last 12 months prior to the disaster. So you're looking at your 2019 financial statements, and you just pull that out of your profit and loss, and we're going to put $1 million here. And your cost of goods sold, your variable costs were $250,000, so we're there. If you have rental properties, you would list them here. These are not required for the sake of this loan right now. So there's not required to move forward. You would put your primary business address. You will have your city, your state, your zip, your business phone, your business email, the day the business was established, you fill that, and notice that there is a red asterisk there, meaning that it's required. If you don't fill it up, fill it out, you won't be able to move forward. Your current ownership, your business activity. I put business services. There are several categories. I chose this one for myself. And none of the options really fit what I do, because I am an accountant and have an accounting and advisory firm. So I just put none of the below. And I have, number of employees 10 as of January 31, 20. So now we're ready to move forward, because otherwise it would be gray. So we click on next. Now we're at the third part of the application. And here's when it kind of goes over the ownership of the members of the LLC in this case. So I will pause the video, I will kind of pre-fill it for illustration purposes, and then I'll be back in a second. So now I noticed, you notice that everything is now set in green. I fill out all the information. It's pretty quickly, mobile, title, your percentage ownership. If your percentage owner, if there were more than one owner, you will need to be required to click additional information, but because it is 100% for this example, you don't. You put your email, your social security number, your date of birth, your place of birth, whether you're a U.S. citizen or not. You can definitely get this if you're a legal permanent resident. Put your residential address, etc. And but notice that it's still not blue. It's still not ready to go to the next page. And the reason for that is you have to click here, is your business owned by a business entity? So say that you had a subsidiary that was owned by a holding company. In that case, you would have to click either yes or no. In this case, it's no, because 123 Company LLC, its own entity, is not owned by anyone else. Once we do that, we're ready to go to the next page. So notice that we already went through 4 phases of it. This is very, very important information. This is where the self-certification comes into place. You have to disclose whether in the past year you have your business, have you been convicted of a criminal offense committed during the connection with a riot or a civil disorder, or declared disaster, or engaged in the production or distribution of any products or service determined to be obscene by any court. You can answer yes or no. Now, I'm pretty sure that if any of the next 3 questions are yes, you're not gonna get it. So is the applicant or any listed owner currently suspended or debarred from contracting with the federal government? If the answer is yes, you may or may not get the money. So it's no here. Are you presently subject to an indictment or criminal information, arraignment, or any? Are you under any legal troubles with the law? And then yes or no. So if you put no, then it's where this part right here in blue is for anyone who helped you. Now, you can totally do this yourself, but if you needed the assistance of somebody to kind of walk you through the whole process, kind of like I'm going through with you, you would put that information here. Now, don't put my information, because I'm not actually doing this. This is a very fictitious company. Then you click here because you would like to be considered for an advance. Now, it is guaranteed whether you get the loan or not that you're gonna get the 10,000. But if you don't click on the little box, you basically you don't want the $10,000. You want to click on it. So go ahead and click here. Then you would put your bank information, your account number and routing number, and then you gotta go to the next page. So I'm not gonna proceed forward, but once we move forward, then then it kind of prompts you to submit it. So we're not gonna go ahead and submit this. This is just for illustration purposes. So I'm gonna pause the video here and we're gonna go to the next phase. Now we're gonna be spending the next few minutes going over all the different forms you're gonna need if you're looking for an economic injury disaster loan that is over $200,000 that you will have to personally guarantee. It's a lot more cumbersome. It's a lot more onerous. There are more forms, there's more knowledge, there's more disclosure, there's more data that goes into it. So I'm gonna just kind of walk you through what is needed, and then hopefully that'll help you. So this is gonna be, you click here, this is gonna be an economic injury disaster loan, so you will click here. Now, if you experience any physical damage, you will click here, but this is most likely because you had to shut your business down or you lost revenue because of COVID-19. Then you get to choose whether you are a partnership, corporation, limited partnership, nonprofit, limited liability, or trust. You would put your legal name, which is your business legal name, whether S corp, limited liability, etc. Your federal employer identification number goes here. Your trade name, your business phone number. A lot of it is pretty self-explanatory. You would put who the contact information are for the purposes of the loan itself, the amount of estimated loss. And this would be something that you would have to calculate based on your financial statements. You would tell the SBA, my estimated loss is, I've lost $300,000 for the last 3 months because of COVID-19, and this is how I got to that. So you would be seeking for a $900,000 economic injury loan. So you have to have all that data ready for you before you actually fill this out. It will be very, very difficult for you to do anything unless your financial statements and your personal financial statement is done. We'll go over that next. So that's the first one, is the SBA, actually Form 5, the SBA application. So this is the next one is called any supporting, this EIDL supporting information, P019. And then you just answer a few questions. Was the business operation 1 year prior to the disaster? Yes or no? What are your gross revenues? Your cost of goods sold? Do you have any rental properties? Lost rents due to the disaster? That would go here. Compensation from other sources. Then you have to certify it and sign it. The next form, if you had anyone helping you through this application process and that person is compensated, i.e. you work with a consultant, a friend, a business advisor, an accountant, an attorney, somebody like me who is a CFO, and we helped you, you have to, there are instructions to complete in the form. So it's, the person that is compensated you would have to sign, and it would have to be acknowledged, so there are no surprises. Next, we go into additional filing requirements. This one has to do with your monthly sales figures. So you have to have all that information. You have to know your business enough to know the sales that you had for 2019, 18, 17. Your fiscal year, whether your fiscal year ends on 12/31, 3/31, 6/30, or 9/30, all that information would go there, depending what your fiscal year ends. And all this information is very easily ascertained if you have your financial statements in order, whether you work with QuickBooks or any kind of softwares like Xero or any other accounting software. The information, if you kept up with it, if you kept doing your books and you're closing your books every month, if you're reconciling, it should be very easy to obtain. Here, this should mirror the interim financial statements from your accounting software. So very easily plug and play your net sales less your cost of goods sold. Your cost of goods sold are your variable costs. That is going to lead to your gross profit. So your net sales minus your less cost of goods sold is going to equal your gross profit. Then you have your operating expenses. You just kind of fill it in, and you're going to have a net profit or a loss at the end, which is going to tie into your financial statements. There's more. Here is the most difficult, in my experience, the most difficult form that is to be filled out, because what this is, it's your personal balance sheet and profit and loss all wrapped up into one. This is called your personal financial statement. This is standard for any bank to ask you if you're qualified for any loan of any size. The formula for the balance sheet is your assets equals liabilities plus equity. So it's not called equity, it's called net worth when it comes to a personal financial statement. So you got your assets, whether they are cash, your savings, your IRAs, your real estate, your automobiles, everything. You tallied up all your assets is gonna show up here as your total assets. Now you're gonna have your liabilities, everything that you owe to somebody else goes here. Your accounts payable, if you have personal accounts payable, note payables to banks or others, installment loans, mortgage loans, unpaid taxes, etc. What I was saying is that if your total assets need to equal your liabilities plus your net worth, so if your assets were $1 million and your liabilities are $500,000, your net worth will be $500,000. So This is with the part that would be similar to the profit and loss. You have all your sources of income that you're receiving, and from all sources, your salary, net investment income, real estate income, and other income. And then you have your contingent liabilities, which is whatever you endorser or co-maker of somebody, legal claims or judgments, etc. Description of other income. You will fill that out. You would payable, your current liabilities and your long-term liabilities, and then whether you have stocks and bonds, it will have to be listed here. Your real estate owned, your property ABC. If you have more, you would have to add those. And the thing about it is, you have to be truthful. You don't want to omit anything. Everything that you're signing is under penalty of perjury, so you have to make sure that you're truthful with everything. So that's this form. This is probably the most cumbersome of the forms. Then there's another form called the request for transfer of tax returns, the form 4506T. This is where the SBA asks you for permission from you to request your tax returns from the IRS, and they better match to what you have in your financial statements. It's very common that I have customers that I work with that the tax returns don't reflect for their business what they have in their accounting software, so you have some explaining to do. So you have to make sure that everything kind of makes sense, that tells a story, that his story is coherent. Last but not least, you have your scheduled liabilities, where you list your creditors, the original amount, the original date, the balance, whether you're current or delinquent, the maturity date, payment amount, etc., and how secured. So that basically wraps up all the forms that you have to fill out. As you can tell, there are several forms. Please comment below and let me know what questions you have regarding the loan process and all the forms that we went through, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. Also, if you want to join a community of like-minded successful entrepreneurs just like you, then join our Facebook group at the link below, where I share tips, tactics, and strategies on how my clients are growing their businesses to 7 figures and beyond.